Wow.
Hey, Shimon, this is Abraham.
Yes, sir.
I have a question, one or two. The first one is racism and discrimination the same thing?
Mm, okay. Do you want me to answer, or do you want everyone else on the to chime in?
Anybody? Then from there I'll come up with my follow-up question.
Okay. Is racism and discrimination the same thing? Anyone? Well, I'll
No,
go first.
no,
I,
no,
go ahead. Go ahead,
no,
Crystal.
no, I don't think it is. No, it's not. I think racism comes as a result of fear. I think discrimination is what happens to you as a result of that fear. I mean, I think that discrimination is something someone actually has to do to you, to take something away from you, something that they have power over and they can take it away from you. That's where discrimination comes into play. The person that's discriminating against you has to have something that of value to you. Now, it's hard for me to discriminate against. I mean, it's not hard for me to discriminate, but I have to have something in value, something that you need that I can keep from you or take it away from you. That's what I think discrimination is. I don't think that discriminate against another Black person. I mean, you can discriminate against anything. Discrimination is, just taking something away, having the ability or someone to take something from them. Whereas racism, I think, is more of a mindset. And I think it has to do with fear. And to be honest with you, I think racism comes from fear that um, what do you call it, reciprocity, or fear that what's been done to us is going to come back and be done to you.
Yeah.
And I think that's a lot of times what racism is. It's the fear that if you get a heads up, you're going to do to me what we did to you. And that's where history comes in. And I think that's the most important thing that keeps people being racist, is that they're always in fear that we're gonna turn the tables and do what they did to us to them. It's always that fear, and that's why I think racism. But discrimination, I think you have to have something tangible that you can keep or take from someone. You can discriminate. That's what I feel.
So in short, racism is based on fear, and discrimination is based on what?
Discrimination is based on your values more, what you value, um, what you can keep from somebody, something tangible. I think discrimination is tangible more.
Okay, and
Something.
okay, thank you. And I want us to be open-minded now. Let's not confine ourselves to the U.S. situation.
Mhm,
Let's think globally.
mhm.
Is it possible, based on what you said, is it possible for a black person to be racist? Let's not
Yes.
confine ourselves to the US only. Let's open our minds.
Yes. Yes. I mean, I want to answer your question. Yes, because if especially for me, and I know like you, Dr. Abraham, and myself, and maybe others on here, we traveled and we seen. I was in Korea, and I had, which is I can't even describe it as being discriminated against. It was just their culture that if you don't look like them, there's certain places I wasn't allowed to go in South Korea. That is true. And it didn't really even matter if I was Black, but it mattered more so. But soldiers weren't allowed to go to certain areas, and certain white soldiers were allowed to go to certain areas. I wasn't allowed to go, and it wasn't just me. So most of most of the black soldiers stayed on the base, or they did their activities on the base. I had Trinidad growing up, East Indians, they have a caste. I had to find this out the hard way. They have a caste system. So in the caste system, if you're darker, they look down on you. You're not considered equal. And I mean, but I had Indian friends. I played with Indian friends. I played, we were buddies. I had buddies of mine in school. But when it came to their families, it was like, no, we can't invite them to dinner. We can't invite, So yes, I can answer your question. Yes.
Okay, so this is very helpful because of which I understand. All of us we talk based on our personal experiences, and that's why by the way, I also experienced racism. I grew up in that system in South Africa, so I can write a book about racism. So I don't want to speak like, I don't want you to understand like I do not understand when you speak of racism. Actually, I think we experienced more racism than almost all of you. So
You think
uh,
the U.S. is more racist than
I mean, the
all of?
system that we grew up in, we
Uh-huh.
grew up. Most of you, when you grew up in the U.S., I think some of the stuff probably had been removed. With us, we still experienced racism, say until 1994. We're not even allowed to vote. We lived in different areas from white people. We went to different schools. I mean, even in our stores, we had two main entrances, one for black people, one for white people. So when you speak of racism, I know what you're talking about. And that's why I'm saying, can we also focus on reverse racism? Is it
No,
possible for us as black people
no.
to be racist? And that's why I'm saying sometimes we'll respond based on our personal experiences. But once you go outside, uh, there are places where also we may need to maybe to ask ourselves those kind of questions. Is it possible for a black person to be racist? And
Yeah,
the, the reason I'm saying this is our discussion should be open-minded, kind of. We should not only be one direction as we discuss. Maybe we look at both sides also. So when you talk of avoiding racism, yes, the white people have to stop being racist against us. But is it possible for us also to have that in our hearts? Thank you.
you know what?
Go ahead, Crystal.
Okay. I did. I know you grew up in South Africa. I read Trevor Noah's book. So I know what he experienced, and I know that we experience it all over the place. I mean, but I do think that people that's born outside of the US have a different perspective. They have a really different perspective than people that's born in the US, because the racism in the US is not, the people that we deal with, they're sophisticated enough to not be blatant about it. Okay, but since we as Americans have been dealing with it all the time, we recognize it, racism as racism. And I don't think it's such a thing as reverse racism, especially in America. There may be reverse racism somewhere else, but it can't be in America, because unless I have this little, I guess, film to show you. A little comedian said, but unless we can go back 400 years and give an equal standing, slaves in this country, build this country, giving them everything that they have today, and then deny every freedom, and still racist today, because instead of hanging us on trees, they're hanging us in the prisons, they're killing us on the streets. It has not changed for us. Okay, it just hasn't. I mean, not to the degree, I mean, I have a difficult time trying to explain this to people, but to the degree that I think it should have changed for 400 years. And like I said, unless we can undo everything and go back and put them in the position that we can't reverse discriminate against white people. There's no such thing as reverse discriminate unless you can reverse the time back to 400 years ago, and you could put us on equal fields, and then we can, you know, and then we can come up with what they came out with: free labor,
I
free, you know.
are you talking about the reverse discrimination or reverse racism?
The reverse racism, because I think what
Not,
brother Abraham was saying is what can Black people be racist, right? And by asking that question, you're looking at a global perspective of other people. So pretty much what he's saying is if you were living in China, can Chinese people be racist against each other? Yes, right? Because as Nico said, it is, you know, that thing that you have, going back to the nail of racism, that thing you have that I will lose that thing from you. So you would find a way, we all find a way throughout history to impede on others, right? Or put others down because of what they have and what we might lose, or what we can gain from that other person. So I think, Crystal, I think
And
go ahead.
and Shimon, what Shimon is saying is very, very true. And because I want us to do what they call self-introspection. I think Shimon will agree with me that as we focus on racism and discrimination, even in the US, there are Black people who are discriminator against other Black people.
yeah,
Especially me as a foreigner. I've experienced it a lot within
I
our
know,
very own Black community,
I
just because
know.
I was not born here.
You're
So
right.
the question is, which one is better, when I'm discriminated against, or when a white person behaves in the racist manner against us? Which one is better?
I don't care. I don't mind racism or discrimination as long as it doesn't take away my rights to be free and to do what I need to do. You can discriminate, you can dislike me, you can do whatever you want, but you don't take, when you have the ability to take away my upward mobility, my ability to get, my ability to do things, then that's when it matters. It doesn't matter any other time, because why do you care what other people feel about you? I mean, really, I mean, what somebody feels about you is none of your business. I could care less if somebody dislikes me because I'm Black. What I care about is that you keeping me from moving forward and getting what I need because I'm Black. That's what I care about. And that is the difference between racism and discrimination. Discrimination can take from me. Racism, you can be racist all you want. Just don't take anything from me. Don't take away my rights. Don't take away my freedoms. Don't take away what I've worked hard for, what my ancestors worked hard for. And don't take away the credit that we deserve for building this country. Don't take away none of that. You could take away, you could talk about me, you can not like my style. Now they even appropriate it. They're taking everything, dances, hair, foot, you know, butts, lips, everything. Don't take away what belongs to us or have us do without. You know, that's what this is about. It's not about you not liking me because of the color of my skin. I don't care. I don't care if you don't like me because of the color of my skin. I don't. I really
Yeah, but
don't.
I think I agree with you. But what I was saying is, when it comes to discrimination, it's when you have, for example, another Black person discriminating you just because you're not from this country, and still they take away those rights, could be the rights for promotions or upward mobility, like you're saying. That can also happen. I think you used to work in HR. Let's say you're in HR, you deny
Yeah.
somebody promotion just because he is not a local person. And that's what I'm talking about. Whether the person does it out of racism because he's white and you're Black, or is
Mm-hmm.
discrimination because he is a local Black and you're not a local Black. To me, they are equally evil. Nothing is better than the
Well,
other.
you know, the thing about it, Abraham, Minister Abraham, the thing about it is that this here in the U.S., this is a white man's country. This is, well, their country. The rules, everything favors white people. Doesn't matter. Black people discriminate against each other. so that they can move up a ladder because they're trying to appeal to what they have to do. I mean, some people feel like I have to do this in order to, I got to look out for myself and my family. So if this is what they want me to say about you and they want me to treat you less than, then I'm going to do it. If you're not in the in crowd, if you're not a chosen one, then I'm going to treat you like you below me. And that's how that happens, Abraham.
I think you and
they're
me
paid to do it.
I think we agree.
Yeah.
I think we agree. But
Yeah.
what I'm saying is both of them, they are equally wrong. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Are equally evil. So whether it's done by a black person or it's done by a white person, both of them are equally evil. That's what I'm saying.
You're right.
Yeah.
I agree.